Thanks for clicking. I'm Tate Shafoli. Welcome to this channel. And in today's lesson, you will be shown how to simultaneously solve two linear equations. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and be a member of this channel. Alright, before we begin, I want to teach you how to come up with your own questions to be solved simultaneously and challenge yourself as well as your fellow learners. Okay? Let's say you want to use m and n as your variables. Decide on the values of m and n. Let's say you want your m to be 5 and your n to be 2. Then come up with two linear equations. Let us do that. M plus, decide on the sign that you want to use, m plus n, and then maybe m, maybe you want to use a minus sign, and then n equal to. You know that your m is 5 and your n is 2. M plus n. So 5 plus 2 is equal to what? 7. And 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. You can challenge your fellow learners because you know the value of your m and the value of your n. Alright, for you to solve these two equations simultaneously, look that you have variable m and variable n. You must make one variable equal to 0. And then you look for the value of one unknown, and then later on you use the value of that variable to find the value of the other unknown variable. Meaning you can make this one equal to 0 first, and then you look for n. When you have found n, that's when you can find m. Or you can make n equal to 0 and then look for m first. And then use the value of m to find the value of n. You must also know the coefficients of terms. The coefficient of this m is positive 1. Coefficient of this m is positive 1. The coefficient of this n is positive 1. And the coefficient of this n is this negative 1. Alright? For us to make this m equal to 0, and since the coefficients are positive 1 and positive 1, so we are going to say 1 minus 1, because 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. And when the coefficient of m is equal to 0, then m itself will disappear, because 0 times any number is equal to 0, and m is representing unknown numbers. So meaning 0 times any value of m will just be 0, and m will disappear. And then we look for the value of n. Please take note that because we are going to subtract these two m's, we are going to do the same with this as well as with this one, because arithmetic is fair. Alright, let's do that. N minus negative n is equal to 7 minus 3. N minus negative n is this one here. Then equal to 7 minus 3. Okay. And n minus negative n. Negative times negative is positive. So meaning this one will be plus sign. And n plus n, that will be 2n. 2n is equal to 4. For you to remove 2 from this side of n, look at the sign between 2 and n. There's a multiplication sign there. And the opposite of multiplication sign is division. So meaning we have to divide both sides by 2 to get the value of n. Divided by 2, divided by 2. And n is equal to 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. Next, we have to find the value of m by substituting the value of n into one of the original equation. We have this one. You can even substitute it here. M plus 2, because the value of n is equal to 2. M plus 2 is equal to 7. And we have to solve this one by taking 2 to the other side of the equation. Remember, when it crosses the equal sign, it changes the sign. And it will be 7 minus 2, which is 5. And the value of m will be 5. Or alternatively, you can substitute in this equation. And then you write m minus 2 is equal to 3. And then you take negative 2 to the other side of the equal sign, and it becomes positive. Because remember, here it is a negative sign. When it crosses this equal sign, then its sign becomes positive. Let's do that. Since the value of n is equal to 2, let's substitute the value of n in one of the equation. Let's say we want to use the first equation. M plus n is equal to 7. M plus 2 is equal to 7. And then m is equal to 7 minus 2. M is equal to 5. Let us prove in our two equations whether we are getting 7 and 3. M is equal to 5. 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. Yes, correct. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. Let's say you want to solve these two linear equations simultaneously, but making n equal to 0. Look at the coefficient of this n and this n. The coefficient of this n is positive 1, and the coefficient of this n is negative 1. Alright? For you to make n equal to 0, I'm going to say 1 minus negative 1 which is equal to 2, or 1 plus negative 1. Obviously, we have to use addition sign. Please do not memorize, you must understand. Because 1 plus negative 1 is equal to 0. Just do it on your calculator. And that's the sign that we are going to use throughout this. M plus m, n plus negative n, and 7 plus 3. M plus m is equal to 2m. And n plus negative n is equal to 0. I'm not going to write that. Let me just write 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. To get rid of 2 from this side of m, look at the sign between 2 and m. The sign between 2 and m is multiplication sign, and the opposite of multiplication sign is division, meaning we have to divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divided by 2, and m is equal to 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. Right, now we have to find the value of n by substituting the value of m in either of these equations. We can substitute it here or in this equation. Let us substitute in this equation. 5 minus n is equal to 3. Negative n is equal to 3 minus 5. Negative n is equal to 3 minus 5, that is negative 2. Look at the sign between -1 and n. The sign between -1 and n is multiplication sign. So meaning we have to divide both sides by -1 to get the value of n. Divided by -1 divided by -1. It's equal to, and a negative divided by negative is positive. So 2 divided by 1 is equal to 2. Alright, let's say you have been given this 3p. Decide on the value of your p. This time I'm not going to tell you the value of my variables. 3p plus r is equal to 25, and p minus r is equal to 3. Which one is easy to make equal to 0? Obviously, this one, r, is easy to make equal to 0 because the coefficients are the same, 1, 1. So this one is positive and this one is negative. So this one is easier to make equal to 0 by simply adding positive 1 plus -1 is equal to 0. Alright, let's say you want to make this one equal to 0. You can see the coefficient of this p is positive 3 and the coefficient of this p is positive 1. So the coefficients are not equal. We're supposed to be 3, 3 or 1, 1. Now we have 3 and we have 1. Okay, now we have to cross multiply. Let me just put the coefficient of this p here. Okay, now for you to make them equal, you have to multiply this equation by 3 and this one by 1. 3 times p is going to be 3p, and 1 times 3 is just 3p, and then this one will be the same. However, this 3 must also be multiplied with the rest of the equation. So 1 times 3p is not going to change anything. So we're not going to multiply 1 times everything of this equation, since 1 times r is just r, 1 times 25 is just 25. But we are going to multiply 3 with r and then 3 with 3. Let me just copy and paste this one. 3p plus r is equal to 25. 3 times p, that is 3p. 3 times r, that is 3r. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, our coefficients are the same for this variable or unknown that we want to make equal to 0. And for us to make this one equal to 0, look at our signs. Positive 3, positive 3. Can we say 3 plus 3 to get 0? No. So you're going to say positive 3 minus positive 3 to get 0. Okay, let's subtract. 3p minus 3p is equal to 0. That one has disappeared. R minus negative 3r, that is 1 minus negative 3. That's going to be 4r. 25 minus 9, that is 16. 1 minus negative 3. Negative times negative is what? It's positive. So 1 plus 3 is equal to 4r. Okay, now look at the sign between 4 and r. It's multiplication sign. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So meaning we have to divide both sides by 4 to get the value of r. Divided by 4, divided by 4. R is equal to 16 divided by 4 is 4. Okay, now we have to substitute the value of r in one of these equations. Either in the first one or in the second one? Let's take the first one. 3p plus 4, because our r is equal to 4, then 25. Now we have to take for the other side of the equal sign. 3p is equal to 25 minus 4. Then 25 minus 4, that is 21. 3p is equal to 21. Okay, look at the sign between 3 and p. It's a multiplication sign. And the opposite of multiplication sign is division. So meaning we have to divide both sides by 3. Divided by 3. Divided by 3. So p is equal to 21 divided by 3, that is 7. Let us prove. What is 3 times 7? That is 21. Plus 4 is 25. You can prove either in this equation or in the original one. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 3 times 4, what is 12? 21 minus 12, that is 9. Or in the original equation, which was p minus r is equal to 3. 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. Correct. Let's say we have been given negative 4b plus 3c is equal to 5b minus 2c is equal to 15. None of this is easier to solve, but now we are forced to use cross multiplication. Look at the coefficient of variable b. It's negative 4 and then positive 5. So these ones are not the same. What about c? Positive 3 and negative 2, and they are not the same. Which variable do you want to make equal to 0? Is it b or c? If you want to make this one equal to 0, then these numbers, you have to make them the same by cross multiplying. If you want to make this one equal to 0, then you have to make these ones the same by cross multiplying. Let us do it. Let us make b equal to 0. You have to cross multiply times 4, cross multiply times 5. Super easy. This whole equation will be multiplied by 5. And this whole equation will be multiplied by 4. The main aim is to make this one the same. You have to be clever. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And 4 times 5 is 20. And then this one will be the same. Can you see the point? Let me just put this one in brackets. Yes. Like that. 5 times negative 4, b, that is negative 20, b. 5 times 3, that is 15, c. Be careful of the negative signs. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. 4 times 5, that is 20b. 4 times negative 2, that is negative 8c. And 4 times 15, that is 60. Okay, now look at the coefficient of this variable. They are now the same, 20, 20. And that's what we're aiming for. Now we can make it equal to 0. Now, which sign are we going to use? Are we going to add or subtract? Please do not memorize that when they are opposite signs, then you have to add. Please, I don't want you to memorize, but I want you to understand. It's super easy. Okay, let's add Negative 20b plus 20, that is 0. 15 plus negative 8, that is going to be 7c is equal to, and 10 plus 60, that is 70. Look at the sign between 7 and c. There's a multiplication sign, and the opposite of multiplication sign is division. So meaning we are going to divide both sides by 7. Divided by 7, divided by 7. C is equal to 70 divided by 7, that is 10. Next, we are going to substitute the value of C in either these ones or in the original equations that were given. Let's just substitute in one of the original equations that was given to us. These are the original equations that were given to solve simultaneously, but then your answer is just going to be the same even if you substitute them in the equations that I've just erased. Okay, let's say we substitute it in this first equation. When we know that our value of C is equal to 10, negative 4b plus 3 times 10 is equal to 2. 4b is equal to, remember that I have to remove 3 times 10 from this side because 3 times 10 is equal to 30. And look at the sign between b and 30 is addition, and the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I have to subtract 30 from both sides of the equations. 2 minus 30, that's going to be negative 28, minus 4b or negative 4b is equal to negative 28. Look at the sign between negative 4 and b, that's multiplication sign, and the opposite of multiplication sign is division. So we have to divide both sides by negative 4 to get the value of b. Divided by negative 4, this one cancels out, divided by negative 4. Negative divided by negative will cancel out. 28 divided by 4, that is going to be 7. P is equal to 7. You can substitute in these equations to see if you are correct. Negative 4 times positive 7, that is negative 28, plus 30, that's going to be positive 2. 5 times 7 is 35, and then minus 2 times 10, that is 20. 35 minus 20 is going to be 15. Then you're correct. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe.